There are certain conversations that aren't just about sharing ideas, but about seeing yourself more clearly. I'm here with a dear friend, Aaron Spivak, a powerhouse of a person, entrepreneur, guy that brings so much motivation, manifestation. He's someone I look up to and admire. At the same time, he tells me he looks up to me as well. And there's this sacred mirror that exists between us. I look up to him for his success and what he's able to do in the world. And he looks up to me based on how I've built my life and the emotional work that I do. And we've been involved with each other for the last probably decade. And today we're going to explore what makes our relationship unique, what brought us together, which really started to go deeper into when we shared a retreat personal workshop space together. So I want to talk about that today. Here we are with Aaron Spivak. Welcome. I know you've had me on your podcast, and I think people enjoyed it. So I thought, why not come over here and we'll talk about you. So you built a bunch of companies. Mm-hmm. I've seen you, back in the day when I would say you were just a kid and you were coming to me for some advice. And then I've watched you just fly to the moon and back. And you built a company called Hush. You sold it. You built a Founders Club, which is just taking off and just inspiring to watch. But if you were to introduce yourself today without telling us what you do, what would you say?
First of all, thank you for having me. This is really fun. I think most people don't know, but this is actually our third podcast. One sits on a hard drive on a computer that I haven't sold because that's the only thing on it. I don't want to get rid of it. And I have it saved in multiple places, but this is the third one, but the second one to be published, hopefully. And, I would describe myself as a optimist, someone that really believes in energy and believes in other people. I would also describe myself as someone that doesn't like to do things alone. And I say that because my greatest joy in life is doing arguably anything that seems fun, or even things that are not fun, with the people that I love, with the people that bring joy into my life and vice versa. And I've just been so lucky that the modality that I chose to have constant connection and pain and struggle with others just happened to be business. And early years, it was hockey. Earlier years, it was driveway basketball competitions with my four brothers. And that's just how I've always been. So I'm a person that prioritizes connection, love, fun, and struggle with others, because I love connection and I slowly die without it. Like kind of like a singular candle. I was just telling this someone the other day, just a singular candle, like the flame is about to go out. What do? You bring another candle, you strengthen it a little bit and then it powers it up a bit and you can take it away again. I'm that second candle that comes and just relights and keeps all the other candles going. And it empowers me as well. When another candle comes, it also gives me flame. And so that's how I would describe myself, as a person that just loves to be in connection and to do fun, but also hard and difficult things with others.
Wow. And where do you think that all came from? You know me, I always like to go.
I mean, it's important just for me to understand, how I grew up. Grew up family of 5 boys, 2 immigrant parents, and two parents that worked very, very hard. Did not have a stay-at-home mom, did not have a stay-at-home dad. Everybody worked to make it happen. So my competition, that edge I have, that need to want to be the best, or to want to get the best out of myself, came for competing for attention in my house. Came for, I had brothers who were 7, 8, and 10 years older than me. So if I wanted to be in connection with them, I had to be able to play sports with them. And when you're 5 years old, 6 years old, and your brothers are 12 and 13 and 14, it's hard to play the basketball game when you're 5 and they're already 13. But I did. And, I got really good at hockey when I was young. At like 6 years old, 7 years old, I was one of the best players in the country.
Wow.
They would call me the horse. They would call me. I was unstoppable. Pretty much until I was even 10, I was probably still top 5, still top 10. The team I played on, 8 of them play in the NHL. And I was better than pretty much most of them. And the reason for that is because my brothers would play hockey out on the street, and I wanted to play with them. So as a 6-year-old, I had to be as good as the 11 and 12-year-olds and the 13-year-olds, my brothers. And I was better than them. So I just always said, I got to do whatever it takes to be in connection. And it required me to grow up faster because I had older brothers. And it taught me that in order to be in connection, I need to be growing. I need to be good enough because otherwise I wouldn't be in the game. I wouldn't be invited.
Wow. And so, okay, so you have this need to be in connection and you just fly to the top. Like, as you said, it seems like, first of all, okay, you had to have a belief about yourself that you were actually able to do that. Like, where did that come from?
I think one of the greatest gifts that my parents ever gave me, and it was most likely by accident, the greatest gift that my parents ever gave me was a disproportionate amount of confidence in myself. My mom specifically and my dad fought for me to make sure that I always thought the highest level of myself, that I could do anything. A layer of confidence that literally still carries me today, to the point where some people have to like stop me sometimes and be like, what makes you think you know what you're doing right now? And like sometimes I'm like, I don't know, I'm literally about to do this for the first time and I'm stepping into it as if I'm a professional. And a little bit of delusion, but also that serves as huge when you're about to, you do everything for the first time. And I'll never forget, I was, a few years ago, I was about to go speak on stage in Vegas for Alibaba. It was 4,000 people. First time I've ever been on a stage where you can't see the crowd because it's black and then they put the light on you. Totally unprepared for that. And I step onto the stage like 2 minutes before, just like take a quick peek. You pull back the curtain, you take a look. I'm like, oh my God. And the guy's like, okay, the microphone's going to come through your ear. I'm like, no, I need a handheld. He's like, why do you need a handheld? I'm like, I need a handheld. That's the way I always do it. He's like, buddy, we don't got a handheld. It's a keynote, buddy. Use your hands. You're tapped in. And I sent a picture to my mom. And I was like, this is crazy. I'm about to speak in front of like 4,000 or 5,000 people. And she responded and she's like, amazing. I was like, what? I mean, you understand, 4,000 or 5,000 people. She goes, yes, of course. You got it. Like, no, like, take a deep breath. You'll be okay. Don't worry. It'll all work out. Like, she had zero doubt that I was going to crush it. Like, yeah, of course you're speaking in front of 4,000 people. Of course. Of course. No issue.
So it's like her confidence in you was so strong that it doesn't even leave room for doubt for yourself.
I had my doubt erased as a child. They would choose who the captains were of the team. Typically, when you're growing up, it's the best player. Then when you get into the professional level, it's like the veteran player and team votes. But like 11, 12 years old, they just choose the best player. It's the way it is. And I was always nervous. I'm like, who's going to get the captain this year? My mom's like, what do you mean you're the captain? I'm like, no, I don't know. This other guy's pretty good. And she's like, no, you're the captain. And I would be the captain. I don't know how, but I would get the captain.
You sure she didn't like call on the team and
sometimes she probably would. If I didn't get it, she'd probably be pretty angry. But there was no doubt ever of if I was going to score. It was how many? Like, am I going to score 3 or 4? It wasn't, am I going to score 1? There was just never any doubt. And a part of it was delusion. A part of it is like, if I didn't get a good grade in the school, it wasn't my fault. It was the teacher's fault. She'd call the teacher and be like, you didn't teach him properly.
The prize child. Yeah.
He's amazing. He's perfect. And whether that was the perfect way or not, it instilled a level of confidence in myself that I could actually do anything. And I can count probably 100 times where I've said things to people, including you, that the 99% of people probably left after whatever I said to them and said, that kid's crazy. Like, he's nuts. He's stupid. What's wrong with him? But I have such unwavering belief because it was that level of confidence was instilled in me from my youth and still is today.
Okay. Now, okay. So that's very powerful, first of all. But I mean, it's nice. Like, you know, every mother and every father says to their kids, like, you're the best, or they try to build them up. They want to believe their kid's the best. Like, what was it that stood out even more about what your mother did? Like, did she model that for you? Like, what was it? What was it like growing up watching her?
Yeah, I mean, she modeled it to the highest level. Like, even still till today, you know, a good example is actually right now. My mom and my brother share a birthday coming up the next couple of days. She's doing a challah bake at her house. 40 people. Okay. Yesterday, I walk into the house and the house is fully transformed. There's 40 buckets to make challah. Everything in separate bags, organized, names, who's sitting where, and I had to pull her aside. I said, who's helping you do this? No. I woke up at 3 a.m. I went to the thing. I weighed it all out. I brought it home. I set up the tables before I even woke up. It's all organized. I said, you got 40 people. How do you know they're all coming? I host events all the time. I got to send texts. I got to follow up. People don't show. My mom doesn't have any of that technology. She's not using software. There's no calendar invites. She calls every single person for the last 2 weeks following up. She has zero doubt that this is going to be a phenomenal event. She has zero doubt. I'm like, how do you know everyone's going to come? They're all going to come. And they always come. So it's like modeling that level of confidence when we lost all of our money multiple times. And, you know, I'll never forget, you know, we were opening up Reviticize, which is our juice shop here in Toronto. And we're supposed to open in 2 weeks. And we're, at the time, I think like $60,000 or $70,000 short to finish the job, to pay the contractor. And me and my brother are sitting right in front of the store. There's like a ledge, you know, to the road. And we're just sitting there because all night we were scraping off this vinyl that's been on the window for 10 years. So we were scraping it with a X-Acto knife, just scraping like a little centimeter by centimeter. There's 10 windows. It's taking us all night. It's 3 a.m. and we're just kind of sitting there. And I remember my brother Nir was like, there's 70 grand. We got to pay the rent at the end of the month. We have no money. We don't know how to use the juicer yet. The juicer's sitting in a crate. And contractor's on my ass. Like, it's over. Like, there's nothing we can do. Like, how am I going to get 70 grand? I underestimated the job, ended up all these surprise expenses. And so we call my mom. And we're like, we don't have the money. We can't finish the job. Like, we're doing everything possible. Like, we're cutting everywhere we can. I'm scraping the tiles myself. We're doing the windows ourselves. I'm spray painting the roof a color. The paint's falling on my face. I didn't wear a proper mask. Like, just doing everything we can. And she was like, okay, don't worry. Just wait until the morning and I got it. We're good. And before I know it, she came and she gave us $20,000. And we're just like, she's like, that buys us another week. Pay the contractor, tell him to do some work for the week. And we're like, okay, $40,000 short. She's like, don't worry, it'll all work out. We're going to get the money. It's going to work out. We're planned to open. We're going to be fine. And out of nowhere, my dad has a stroke, which is like the worst possible news ever. And so my mom's like, now for the first time, like she's falling apart. She can't handle it. Now this, like the confidence of the family is like, oh my God, it's really, really over. And this guy comes to our door. He goes, I'm sorry about your dad having a stroke. He has a life insurance policy. A part of it is if he loses his main source of income, here's $60,000, which was the exact amount we needed to open the store. We used it to open the store. No idea where she got the first 20 from. We opened the store with $0 in the till. We had no till. And we used all the money we had to get the juices made. My mom baked the baked goods in the house with the flour we had. And we had to sell out. And we opened at 7 in the morning. And we sold out by probably 8 a.m. Nothing left in the fridge by 8 a.m. for our first day opening. No cash register. So someone came in with a $20 bill and it was $11 for a juice. We're like, take another juice because we got no change for you. You know, it's like either $20 or you get 2 for 20. And I remember only like a week or so later, like my mom told us that like she went to her friends and got the 20 grand. And that the reason we sold out at 8 in the morning was not because Erin ran an amazing marketing campaign, was because the night before she stood up and she texted every single one of her friends, everyone she's ever knew. And she's like, I want to see you tomorrow morning at 7 in the morning. We open. And they all showed up and they all sold out the fridge. And that was like the beginning. And I think back, like now in my like more adult years, like that level of confidence, that level of unwavering belief that it'll work out has served me in everything I do. I have no fear. You know, I just signed like a $150,000 contract for a venue in LA for a forum that I'm saying we're going to have the biggest speakers in the world speaking at. I don't even have one speaker committed yet. And in the back of my head, I'm like, I know it's going to work out. And it's a part delusional, but it's a belief that was instilled in me from my youth, from the very first day.
Yeah, it's interesting what you're saying. It's like delusional. Of course it's delusional. Because what's belief? Belief is something that transcends logic. Like logically, within this world, the way things work out, A plus B equals C, 1 plus 2 equals 3. Like this it doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense.
And you got to prepare for this and you got to have years and years of work. But belief is tapping into something that's higher than you can possibly make sense of. And so where did your mother get this from? Like it's like she's just
I mean, she's just a survivor. Like, you know, she comes from Ofakim, which is like the ghetto of Israel. She comes from a family of 13, 2 bedrooms, sleeping on the floor. You have to leave the house usually by 11 or 12 to go to boarding school. Not really boarding school, to go to a kibbutz. You take a job on the kibbutz. She would cut chickens. That was her job on the kibbutz, or milk the cows. And then she would steal a couple chickens in her bag to cut later and eat them. But how'd you even get to the kibbutz? You have to hitchhike as an 11-year-old. That means you have to have good judgment based on who you're getting into the car with. It could be someone who could harm you. These are all things that she learned at such a young age to survive. And you do that enough times, you start to believe in yourself. You start to believe in, you know, God. You start to believe in that you can really do anything. You know, my dad she had her 3rd child. My dad had to leave for 6 months. Three kids under 4. Gone 6 months. Went to Panama. No cell phones, no FaceTime. Like he came back after 6 months, the kids didn't recognize him. She was by herself. And now he would just send money. Eventually it would get to her and like, that's it. And she had to believe that he would come back. She had to believe that, he'd come back and
especially from Panama.
From Panama, yeah, back to Israel. Like she had to believe. And is that to be said that every time she had a belief, it didn't smack her right in the face? No, so many times where it didn't go her way. But it's the ability to find the silver lining, to the little light at the end of the tunnel, and just stare at it. And, even now, she went through a very difficult time with her health, and certain times she was like breaking, but she would like just constantly repeat. She's like, oh, in 1 month, like I'm going to be back. I'm going to be back. Oh, I'm going to be doing this. This is what I'm going to be cooking. This is what I'm going to look like. She would buy clothes that don't fit her yet to have for when she's healthy again and she loses weight because she can work out again so that she can wear. She would start laying out the clothes already. So that little light of like, I'm going to be better and I'm going to feel better and I'm going to be able to work out again and I'm going to be able to host and I'm going to be able, like she said, by my birthday, I'm going to be able to like host people without even knowing.
It's in a couple of days.
Yeah, without even knowing, And we all started to believe it. She believed it. And that's something that I carry through, even through some of like the darkest times and the highest level of uncertainty. I choose to always look at the little light at the end and say, okay, but that's what I'm going to focus on. That's where I'm going to work towards. And that's the energy that I'm going to attract. And it also helps me not necessarily, and in a way, this also has numbed me a little bit, because this is not a perfect recipe. I don't believe anything is. It's numbed me in a way where I don't necessarily give myself the time to feel the loss, to feel the pain, to feel, to even feel my mom being sick, because I also was looking at the light with her and thinking about, hey, you're coming to Florida at the end of the year. It's all going to be okay. Like, this is what we're going to be doing when you come. We're going to be doing this. Like, and we never gave ourselves a moment to be like, but you're sick right now. And the doctor's saying there's only a 65% chance that he can get you better. None of us sat there and said, damn, there's a 45% chance this doesn't progress the way we want it. And, I've learned now to kind of have both sides, but I also learned that life is a little bit easier and a little bit better to focus on the good.
It's amazing. I mean, it's like she comes from 13 kids,
mm-hmm.
and you have a chance to look at life. And I'm sure it didn't turn out the same for all those kids that in the 13, but it's like you have a choice: survive or die, play the victim. And she chose, I'm doing this. It's like there's something that turned on inside of her that, from beneath the wound, there's just a massive light. It's like she needed to go through that hard time to have this resilience to overcome anything. It's like that. Mm. I can't even imagine growing up like that. She's saying she's sleeping on the floor where she has to do that. And similarly, you were looking, it's like she gave that over to her kids, because you're like, oh, I was playing hockey with guys that are much bigger than me and older than me. And, I could either choose to say like, I'm not good enough for them, or I got to just step up, even though it made no sense. Mm-hmm. But she gave that over to you. Mm-hmm. That's powerful.
Yeah. I mean, not everyone, actually a member in the club, I just found out on their application that they own a trauma clinic for children out in Kentucky. And so I chatted with them because I was like, this is a really cool thing. I've never seen this. Multiple clinics. And I was like, I asked them straight up, I said, what is the most powerful thing of your work? And he explained it in a very interesting way. He said, sometimes our only goal is to just get and this is for children up until 12 years old, is to just get them to take one step past their trauma. Just one step. And I didn't really understand that at first. So I asked him, obviously, like, explain that. And he's like, sometimes the trauma is so bad that we stay in that version of ourselves forever. And sometimes a 6-year-old experiences something and they stay as that 6-year-old for the rest of their lives. And he's like, sometimes you experience trauma in the womb and you stay in the womb mentally, your brain stays in the womb for the rest of your life. And to me, it was such an interesting take because I'm obsessed with Everest, people climbing it. I think it's like the craziest thing ever. And you know, so many people die on Everest because they freeze. And people think, oh, because they freeze to death. Well, eventually. But they literally freeze. They get to a certain point where they can't take another step. The fear, the brain is telling them, you're going to die. It's cold. They witness someone dying in front of them. Something happens and they can't take another step. The brain wins. And then that's it. They can't go backwards. They can't go forwards. And at a certain point, they have to leave them behind because they're going to cause death for other people. And it's the most troubling thing on any Everest climb. People freeze. They get stuck in a trauma. They get stuck in a fear. Their brain just, it's over. And this confidence, this ability to just take the next step after maximum pain and believing that the next step will take you just a little 1 inch forward is, in my opinion, what confidence and what was modeled in our youth. No matter what has happened to us, no matter finances, my parents' stroke, mom's sick, whatever was happened to us, we've always just been able to take one step, maybe not 100, but just one. And I found that so interesting when he was explaining, like, his only work is not to cure kids and save their life. He's like, if I can just get them to go from trapped at 6 years old to trapped to 6 years old and one day is a huge win. And it really, like, gave me the perspective of, well, no matter what point I'm at, the only ever thing that's true is change. Change is it's constantly happening. And if you get stuck, that's when you get that quicksand starts to happen and you start to sink.
Yeah, it's like, we're called in this world, and the Hebrew word is amahalech. We're always moving forward. It's like famous thing here, like life is like an escalator and it's coming down and you got to go against it. You're like going against the tide. If you don't take that step, you're going to go down. Mm-hmm. And it's such a unique perspective to say, I'm not going to be comfortable. Like today, people are looking freedom 65 or it used to be freedom 55. Today it's like freedom 100. But to say, like, I'm going to get there. And what people don't realize is it's not about getting there. It's about taking that next step. It's the journey is the destination. And people don't really tune into that. It's not about achieving something or getting to the top of the mountain. It's about every day taking one more step to say, I'm doing this. I'm a mover. I'm a shaker. And, it's something that really inspires me about you is like, it's never enough. I guess the other day you sent me like, oh, we just hit 770 members of the club, which is a very special number to me. Something that, is deep significance of the Lubavitch movement, which is 770 is like, we're never stopping. And that's something that the Lubavitcher Rebbe stood for is we're not stopping until the whole world is transformed. So, okay, first of all, let's backtrack for a second. I remember having a conversation with you and I think I've said this before, but and you said 99% of people are like, they walk away, but you said to me, it's like, okay, should I go to school and get my education and finish my degree? I was talking, this was while I was on a workshop where I'm holding space for other men, where I have to believe in every one of them to show them that they can actually do this. It's not about them coming to me and saying, oh, you're this guru and, tell me, guide me, and I want to be codependent on you. But I have to give her this belief that I have in myself that I could do it, because we all face challenges. And similar, I had a mother that always believed in me, which is, now I'm seeing some of that connection, is you said to me, I'm going to make $20 million a month. Now, when you said that to me, I was like, this guy, like in my head, I was like, this guy is totally nuts. But I was actually like, I don't know why, but I actually believe that. Like, why do I believe this? Why do I believe this guy is actually going to do it? And I felt that through everything. It's like when you came to me, when you were, about to like launch this product, you're like, things are never going to be the same. I'm going to do Hush. Things are never going to be the same. And all we need is this amount of money. It's like that similar story. Just need 35,000. It's like, Revice, I just need 70,000 and we're going to make this happen. And I was like, yeah, I'll invest in you guys. I don't know what weighted blankets. Like, I don't even know what that is. Like, I tried looking up online and I'm like, what the heck's a weighted blanket? It seems like a scam from China. And next thing you know, you just, and I'm actually gonna smack you maybe for not taking my money. But I was like, I believe in this guy. Like, this guy could tell me anything and I'll believe it, because we're vibing on that same frequency. Is where like I believe that I can do this. I mean, now to shift a bit, like I was getting married to a woman who had 2 kids. She lost the husband tragically. And I don't know why I even listened to my brother-in-law, who was so crazy and said, you're a good match for this girl. Which I was this kid. I was 24 years old. She's 26. And I'm like, why do I even think I can take this on? Because that's like a huge challenge. The trauma of a previous relationship that ended abruptly, and taking on 2 kids. And all the first thing about being a father, the whole world was actually telling me, you can't do this. But there's something inside of me that says, not only can I do this and will I do this, but I'm meant to do this. And I felt like the divine providence in this all happening the way it happened, and this unwavering belief that I'm going to be able to do this in a family life. Yours is in a business life, which is like, now I'm actually seeing, I was like thinking, what made us gravitate towards each other, that we feel and see a resonance between each other, that we're in a relationship. Like, we're in very different worlds. We're doing very different things. And I have this envy of you and how you do that, but it's beneath it. It's actually the same thing in a certain sense. So you're like, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, yeah, okay, this guy's going to do this. And I was like, yeah, you should not go to school, and you should follow your passion. You should follow your dream. And I think there's 3 things that everyone needs to really ask themselves almost on a daily basis. And it's like this. They say in the temple that was built and was destroyed for over 1900 years, that in the temple there were different, like whatever existed in the temple exists in ourselves as well, because we are a mini temple. And so the 3 things, there's something called the shulchan, which is the table where like the holy offerings were made. And then there was the holy throne, the seat. And then there was the menorah, the light. Now, those aren't just like ideas back in the day. Those are ideas that Kabbalistically live in every single one of us today, because we're a mini temple. So those 3 questions Kabbalistically say, what are you passionate about? Like, what's on your table? Where are you taking influence from? It's like, I'm sitting in my seat, and I take my influence where I'm sitting, I'm settled, and like I'm receiving from the world. That's the idea of receiving. And the third one is the the candelabra, the menorah, which is like, what light do I bring to the world? So I think everyone needs to ask themselves that question almost on a daily basis, because that's what really fuels everything that I'm doing. So I'm going to throw that down with you is, what are you passionate about that keeps you going? Not just this unwavering belief, which is amazing, but what brings you passion that you're like, I want to do this?
It's a good question. There's probably a handful of things that drive me forward. One thing I've always enjoyed the most, and if looking back, I've enjoyed this at every moment, is doing, at a very high level, doing something that changes the world in a way to benefit someone else's life. And that's like everyone says that, I want to change the world.
I want to change the world. Like Miss America says,
right. Like,
I want world peace.
I want world peace, I'm from Nicaragua, world peace. Everyone wants world peace, but that's the high level. And if I peel back the onion and I go all the way back, and I oftentimes ask myself, why I didn't make it in hockey. Because I was really good.
How did you read my mind? I was like, that was a shattered dream, so to speak. And you just transfer that over to something else.
Yeah. And when I think of that, and I think back to my hockey days, my dad says this a lot. My dad would come to all my games, no matter what. Like, he'd leave work, he'd drive in the snow, like, he's at a game. There's no way my dad's not coming to a game. There's nothing that can stop him. Not his best friend's bar mitzvah, not this, not that. Doesn't matter. My son's playing, I'm there. It's just everyone knew that about him. He had no friends for literally 40 years because he couldn't hang out with anyone because he was at our games always. And I have a very I have two very distinct memories that I think about all the time. And one of them was when I was 7 at Elgin Barrel Arena, which is in Richmond Hill. And we're playing a tournament. It was for Super 7, the best 7-year-olds in the country. So they make these like 6 super teams. They bring in the kids from all over, and we play a tournament. And everyone's watching because he's like, from this tournament, there's always NHL players. So it's like you get to see them when they're 7. It's really cool. And then we're in the final game, and I'm playing lights out. Like, I don't even know how many goals I scored, but I scored too many. And at the end of the tournament, they choose an MVP. So they have all the kids line up. All the parents are watching. And then the guy comes out with a microphone with a little MVP trophy. I remember it's gold hockey player like this with a white base. And he goes, all the coaches, all the teams are going to decide and vote. They all decided, who was the MVP. And I remember they said, okay, the MVP is number 2 from the Richmond Hill Stars, Aaron Spivak. And I get my trophy, and the guys, they're taking a picture, right? You're with the 2 like owners of the thing. You stand in the middle, they take a picture. And I remember that I was only looking at my dad the whole time, that they had to keep taking the picture again. So I was like this. And they're like, hey, over here for the picture. And I was just staring at him. And he was so happy. Like, it was insane. He was just like sitting there. I'll remember with his hands crossed, just so like, it was like light was coming out of him, And I had to take the picture 4 times. I don't even think I ended up having the picture. I still have the trophy. And the second memory was when I was 21, towards the end of my career. And we all kind of knew that this was going to be the end. And we're in overtime in the playoffs, my last year.
How old are you, said?
21 now. 2021. So I'm running revitalized now, but I didn't want to quit hockey. And we're in the finals, overtime, and there's a video of this goal. And just a beautiful play, and I end up scoring one of the nicest goals I've ever scored in my whole life. Just everything I did worked, and it was just ridiculous. And I remember scoring, and it was weird because it was on my backhand, and you keep your momentum skating this way to celebrate with your friends. And then I stopped, and I turned around, And I saw my dad with his hands up in the air like this. He's never done that before, ever. I've scored hundreds of goals, thousands of goals probably since I was a kid. And his hands were just like up. And after the game, I went up to him and I said, I saw you put your hands up. He said, no, I didn't put my hands up. Like, I saw you put your hands up. He said, no, I didn't put my hands up. I'm like, I saw you. But he saw, it happened. It was a big moment. And he was so happy. All he did was this, he was just so happy. And that feeling of sharing joy and doing things for myself, but also in connection with others. I didn't care about my teammates. I couldn't even tell you who was on my team. But for me, that journey was to be in connection with my father. Hockey was our thing. Still to this day, if a hockey game's on the TV, he's like, you miss it? That was our connection. And the same thing in business, doing it with my family the first time, like it was our connection. And the same thing with the products that we created. I would tell people my favorite part of Revitasize was not making the smoothie, was handing the smoothie to the customer. And I would always say, try it. And their face, the second they try it and they go, whoa, dude, that's amazing. That to me is everything. So that's like, when I say change the world, it's one smoothie at a time. It's people like you that came in and did a juice cleanse for the time. And I remember you were going to like F45 or CrossFit, or you were doing, CrossFit, and you would come in and you were routine and you were crushing it. And you were talking about feeling my best. You were here every morning. And I was like, if he's here every morning, like you're the reason I'm here every morning, because like I get to serve you. I get to see the change in your life. We've had people lose weight. We've had people come back and feel the best they've ever felt. With Hush, it was the same thing. We had people that would say they haven't slept in years, and now they're sleeping better. And one person said they haven't slept more than 3 hours ever. And then they used a blanket and they slept 3 hours and 13 minutes. And it was the best 13 minutes of their entire life. It was a young lady from New Brunswick. And I was like, this is why I do what I do. It's so much fun. Same thing with the Founders Club. My favorite thing, we have a wins channel that we do. I just posted a bunch on my story the other day. Like, Ben Moss literally shared that he'd heard me speak at a conference, joined the club, and business wasn't going the way he wanted to, came to a workshop, and he's going to do more he's done more in the last 3 months than his entire existence in the company. They've grown 6x. He's never been happier, more confident in himself. So yes, in a cliche way, it's to change the world, but it's not change the world all at once. It's just one person at a time, having one impact on someone at a time. Because that to me is the most fulfilling thing ever. And it started with seeing the joy on my father's face. It brought me joy. It started with seeing the impact of the products we created at Revita, bringing people's joy, and brought me joy. Continued with Hush, watching people sleep better, brought me joy. And same with Founders Club, watching founders not go through business 100% alone, and to feel supported and to be surrounded by like-minded people that show them it's possible.
It's like your whole child is like, you want a connection with your parents, and to earn the connection, you had to almost like prove yourself, be the best. And then where do you take your influence from? Is from your parents mostly. Mm-hmm. And then now you go out and you do this Hush thing where you have to separate from the family business, mm-hmm. do your own thing, really prove that everything that your parents gave you, you're able to go out and do that. You prove yourself successful. Now you're like, hey guys, I'm going to show you how to do this because I have the model, because I've done this and I have such a strong foundation. And just to throw it down and make it a little bit vulnerable, like, what do you want to say to your father for putting up his hands, and for that picture where you were just looking at him and you couldn't focus on, because it was never about the glory. It was always about the connection. Mm-hmm. So what would you like to say to your father?
I would like to say that I would like to say thank you for showing up. Thank you for just being there. That's what I tell people all the time, like, just show up. He was just always there.
So special.
Always there. No excuses. Just there. Even if he was late, and I would look for him. You know, I would look, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Sometimes I wouldn't even play. Like, sometimes he'd miss the first period, and I'd be like, the whole game, be distracted. Where is he? And then he'd come and be like, okay, now I can play. Because why would I play if he wasn't there? What's the point? And I think back to my, like, even my hockey career, it's just like, I did it for connection.
It's because you said your parents were not physically there. They were so busy where he was 6 months away. Like, that 6 months away, even though it was painful, ended up being the blueprint for the most powerful connection and the drive to get connection.
Yeah, I think I learned, you know, family is very, very important to me. And I learned it because I associate it to the joy in my life, really. Like, I think back to my hockey career, even, like, honestly, more now in this conversation than I probably ever have. And I wanted to be in connection with my brothers, so I had to be good at hockey. You know, I wanted time with my father, which means I had to be good at hockey. You know, and I just channeled it through hockey. And when their connection shifted to be in other realms, when it became business, my father had a stroke, and then I stopped hockey. I just went all in on the business side of things. But I don't think any of that happens without, you know, him being there and showing up. I think if he didn't show up, I wouldn't have showed up.
It's almost like the pain, like the reason you say today, I'm helping founders who feel alone to do it together, is the pain of that child, which was somewhat of a wound, just having to feel like he was alone in a certain sense, drove him to the end of the world to be in connection, and now teaching other people how to do that.
Yeah.
Like, if you wouldn't have gone through that, we wouldn't have been we wouldn't be having this conversation.
No, definitely.
Like, if your
not.
father was always there, and I'm not talking about when you proved yourself, or,
right,
or when you stepped into your power, which is like, distance creates an opportunity to step in, and you know, parents are just always loving and giving you nurture. You wouldn't be building and creating as much as you have.
No, definitely not. That's why I said, like, it all comes down to connection for me.
So this connection, and then from the standpoint of what your mother gave you, is this unwavering belief, like, she never had a doubt. And so connection from father for always being there, mother always believing, and those are your two driving forces today, and you're giving that to the world. Like, that's your light that you bring to the world. Forget about all the other masks and costumes that you wear, because it doesn't matter about the organizations that you're building. You can decide tomorrow that you're gonna sell Twinkies or whatever you're gonna do.
It's true.
Like, it doesn't even matter. It's just what's gonna bring that message to the world, and it's just through going and building a company, being successful, and watching your parents do that as well. Drove you, like, I'm going to give this to the world. I'm going to take this torch. I'm going to pass it on to the world, which is so powerful. Now I got a weird question for you. It's like, so with all this and you're going through it, and obviously it wasn't just like a given that you just knew this all along. Guy comes on a workshop. Like, what are you doing coming on a workshop if you have such a great life? Which is, you know,
first one.
A lot of people come on a workshop because they want to work on themselves emotionally because they're stuck, or they're hurting, they're in pain. Why would you Aaron Spivak come on a workshop?
I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I do things on just pure intuition, without any logic or, black and white circumstance. I do something I act on intuition so often because, candidly, I wasn't the most educated. I hardly graduated high school. I didn't have the validation that my brain was like logically the smartest. So I never really took the logical route most times. Now with GPT, I can kind of flesh it out a bit, but
It's like you knew AI was coming. So screw the schooling system.
Like I never trusted myself with writing. I would refrain from writing emails for the most part because my spelling and grammar were terrible. But my intuition served me really, really well in my life. And I've learned to trust that. And my good friend Armstrong Williams just dropped a crazy line on me the other day. He said, "It's such a shame when I watch someone ignore their intuition because it's the greatest thing that's been passed down to you from generation to generation to generation. You have thousands of years of intuition that's been programmed into your soul. And the only way it can speak to you is sometimes like that feeling it gives you." And he's like, "It's such a shame when I see somebody ignore it. And they use their primitive 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and they ignore the thousands of years that's been programmed into their soul." And he's like, "Only a smart man knows to listen to his intuition over his
smart
head."
man. It's like smart you think is an intellectual thing, logic. You got to do this, you got to do that, and this will build.
It's a mindful man. Only a mindful man knows that his brain is not smarter than his gut, because his gut has. He's like, he quote word for word. He goes, "You think you like AI? You have the best AI in your heart. It's the best AI ever created because it's you. It's every single part that has made you, every gene, every trauma your ancestors have gone through, everything to this moment is just programmed in the best possible AI, and it's in your heart." And he's like, to ignore it is an individual, word for word, that I don't want to be around. It's a dangerous individual who doesn't listen to his truth. And I've just been so lucky that I couldn't trust my brain. So I had to trust my heart. And, intuition for me is what's led me down every path. When things feel good, I push forward. And when they don't feel good, I slow down. And I start to question things. And that's why it's important to have other people that you trust around you. Because sometimes your intuition is not so black and white. Sometimes it's confusing. Sometimes it wants more than one thing, and you have to make decisions. And it's so important. Like you said, one of the three things is who you take influence from. It's like who you take influence from can really dictate the outcome of your entire life, because we can only connect the dots backwards. And if we can only connect the dots backwards, then what is the next line you're drawing? Which dot are you going to next?
I love that.
And if you can't see the future, then all you can see is inside your heart, and then take influence from those people around you. And it's hard to do. It's not an easy thing.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
It is. It's hard to do, but I've never been steered wrong from my own intuition. I've tried to ignore it, like many of us have. But as Armstrong says, you can ignore it all you want. It still comes back. You can't ignore the facts. You can't ignore the truth.
Okay, so you don't know why you came on a workshop.
But sorry to bring it back. No, wait. Why I came on is because you were telling me about it for a long time, and I kind of ignored whatever it meant. I didn't really understand it. And then my brother went on a workshop, and he came back from a workshop, and he's like, Aaron, you got to go. I said, all right, what is it? You got to go. He was just walking around my house. Who are you? That's what he kept saying to people. Everyone's like, what are you talking about? He's like, you don't know who you are. And we're like, what are you talking about? And that's what he would do for like 2 weeks. He's like, yeah, what's your name? Aaron, who are you? You know, and like everyone's like this, Mike, what are you talking about? And, you know, at a certain point, I said, you know what? I'll go. Like I felt it in my heart. I felt the calling to go. I had no idea what I was signing up for or where or anything. And I remember I reached out to you and I was like, all right, I think I'm going to go. But I did it based on no logic, just a feeling in my heart to go. I had no reason. I had no like specific thing I wanted to work on. I had no like, I didn't just go through a super traumatic experience. Like there was no like, I need to solve this one thing. It was just, I feel in my heart to go, and I listened to it.
I know you're not just trying to make me feel good by you coming, because, you know, it's, of course you're going to say, I didn't know, because intuition doesn't have a logical reason sometimes for doing things, most of the times. And you end up going. Tell me what the benefit of going for you was. Like, what was that shift that helped better sort of your life?
I think it was, in my time, it was the first time I had a lot of firsts on that workshop. It was the first time I did any sort of breath work. It was the first time that I completely disconnected from the world. It was the first time that I thought about myself, really. I was 21, 22. You know, it was the first time I thought about anything. The first time I thought about relationships. It's the first time I thought about my relationship with my parents, my brothers. The first time I even asked myself, why am I the way I am? Never even thought about that for a second. You know, most 22-year-olds probably don't, but I definitely didn't, you know? So for me, it was the first time I had any sort of space to actually step out of myself and turn around and face the music and really just look at who I am. At least at that point. And it left me with a community of others who actually saw me for the first time. And that also never existed or happened for me. So there were so many firsts that happened all at the same time. But the most important thing that it left with for me was it reinforced who I am. Because up until that point, I had optimism around who I am. I had thoughts about who I am. I had wants about who I want to become. But I left that workshop knowing exactly who I am in that moment. And I was able to go and live with 100% certainty, which gave me even more confidence. You know, I was there in 2019, most critical moment in Hush's history. We're about to launch our Kickstarter with all the money we have. And I'm at the workshop a weekend before, and I had so much doubt about this Kickstarter. I didn't even want to do it. Leora wanted to do it. And so we're wasting all our money on this. And like, if it doesn't work, it's over. And I left coming back saying like, this is it. This is exactly where we need to be, what we need to be doing. And I was able to check in when I was nervous. I was able to sit with myself through the pain. And then ended up being, you know, a top 10 Kickstarter of all time.
Wow. Is that one step forward?
Yeah. It's like you're frozen. And I think sometimes the scariest place to be in life, in my opinion, is to be frozen and not have anyone around you to unfreeze you. That is so dangerous to the point where it can be potentially catastrophic, especially if you're on Mount Everest, but it can be catastrophic.
You were literally on Mount Everest.
Yeah, we were all the way up and it was frozen. Actually, it was freezing up there in Montreal, but it was, oh my God, it was freezing. But to be stuck, I always reference the 4-minute mile, you know, like no one's ever done it. Actually considered impossible. Everyone said impossible. One man runs it. The very next competition, everybody runs under 4 minutes. The training was the same. The diet was the same. The stretching was the same. There's not enough time for like, the shoes were the same. Like nothing, the wind was like, nothing was able to happen other than one man unfroze the rest of the world in terms of what they believed was possible. And that man is the man everyone remembers, because that's what life is about. We all get frozen. No matter what happens, you're going to get frozen. And those who have the people around them to unfreeze them and pull them forward will continue to progress. That's why life is it's so key on who you surround yourself with. You are who you surround yourself with. People say you become who you surround yourself with. It's like, no, you are.
Oh, man, sometimes I feel
like you are. You're not becoming them. You are them. And if they don't inspire you, if they're not actually there for you, they're not people you can trust. If they don't have aspects of their life that you aspire to be, if you don't have aspects of your life that they aspire to be, because together as a community, you become one. No one's perfect, right? But that's how we can support each other. There's things I'm great at that you're not. There's things that you're great at that I'm not. And we all have different friends for all of that. And you put that all together, you make a beautiful life.
And so it's like, if you're surrounded by people that aren't bringing out the best in you, well, I guess you don't think the best about yourself.
Yes, exactly. The people you keep around you are a reflection of you.
Yeah.
So like, I never judge a person by who they are. I always judge them by, and I try not to judge, but I do judge because it's just part of my life. And I judge them by who they hang out with. People say it all the time, like, I have a friend actually, I won't say his name, but he called me out a week ago. And he said, hey,
it wasn't me.
Yes. He said, Aaron, I noticed you do something and I don't think it's cool. I said, all right, here we go. Tell me. And he said, there was someone that came to a dinner that I invited to, and you never met them before, and you totally, like, it was black and white. You just did not like them. You didn't even speak to them. You just didn't like them. And he was kind of hurt. Like, he came out to me after. He's like, yo, that Aaron guy, like, didn't even look at me, didn't even talk to me. And I was like, damn, like, why did I do that? You know, like, what in my heart happened where this man just felt like, stay away from me? I never met the guy before. I know of him, though. And then I was like trying to think about it. And I said, oh, I follow him on Instagram. And he's like, yeah, but you know, people don't always post what's legit on Instagram and stuff. I said, yeah, but I know who he hangs out with, which is true. I know his circle. I don't like that circle. I don't know him, but I know the people he hangs out with, and I understand the recipe. I'm not interested. And he's like, he's a really nice guy. You should give him a chance. No. I got a text the other day from him saying, by the way, this guy did so and so and so. I'm no longer hanging out with him. I said, great. Wasn't hard for me to tell. Look at the people he hangs out with, right? So if that's true about who we hang out with, who we spend time with, then isn't that a hack for our own life? Isn't that something we should be optimizing in our own life, who we spend time with, who we take influence from? Because it really does determine the outcome of your life.
So what's the most important quality of the people that you hang around with, would you say?
The most important quality is, in my opinion, the ability to be truthful with each other. Very difficult to do. Very, very difficult. You can be honest with people and they might never talk to you again because you hurt them, it doesn't land well. They might hate you, actually. And some people avoid the truth because then they don't want that. Who wants that? Who wants people hating them? Who wants people fighting with them, getting defensive with them? Some of my best friends, the people I keep around, all we do is have hard conversations. All we do is talk about the truth. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks every time. I walked in here, I was like, how are you? You're like, good. And I was like, and you're like, yeah, we'll talk after. Like, it sucks. The last thing you want to say is actually, yeah, you know what? Blah, 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 blah. That's the last thing you want to do right now.
Yeah, it's like your good friends will say the hard things in front of you or the bad things about you. They'll show you that reflection to your face. Those are like your good friends, and they'll talk good behind your back. And the inauthentic ones will talk good to your face and bad behind your back. And, you know, it's like reversing that process.
There's two types of friends. There's the ones that want the best for you, and there's the ones that want the best for you as long as it's not better than them. Yeah. And I spend a lot of time deciphering between the two. Who's genuinely happy for you, who genuinely wants you to win, who doesn't want you to win as long as it's slightly less than how much they win. And it's difficult. It's difficult. And oftentimes it means getting rid of our childhood friends, because that's the most traumatic thing, in my opinion, for somebody. The worst thing that I can imagine for someone is them growing up with somebody else, seeing themselves as an equal their whole life, and then having that person propel into an unprecedented level of success. Because then what does that mean about them?
You can leave me behind.
You're going to leave me behind? Wait a second. That could have been me, because we're the same. See, we're equals. We've been equals our whole life. Creates frustration, creates limiting beliefs in myself, doubt, envy. Those are all things you do not want around you. It's hard. And oftentimes we get trapped because we stick with the same people forever, and we actually are all keeping each other down. We're all staying down. I want to be around people that elevate, that push me, that call me out for things that I'm not perfect. They call me out for things I make mistakes on, but give me the space to improve. Don't penalize me for it.
Yeah, be my fan, be my cheerleader.
Yeah.
You know, I learned this a while back. I was in university. Actually, the rabbi in the university told me this. He's like, it's so much easier to be there for someone when they're going through a tough time, like, you know, they lost someone, Shiva, this, that, whatever. But then when you have to go to like a time of joy, to like really vibe and feel like it's your joy when you see them do something amazing, like I marry off a kid or whatever. It's like we're doing that together. It's so much easier to be there for them when they're down. We resonate more to the down than to actually step into.
Why do you think
joy.
we resonate more with the down?
Misery loves company. It's just the way it is.
Do you think it also has something to do that if you're down and I'm supporting you, that I'm now above you?
There you go. Yeah, it's like I want to be in
I'm
the
better
position
now.
of I matter. I have something to offer. And this is a thing where I feel like real friends don't leave you behind. They bring you up and they help you get to that place of feeling the joy. And if you really love a person, like when I see you and what you're doing, like I don't follow people on social media. Like I couldn't care less because none of those people out there I have a real relationship with. It's just, and I don't, you know, a lot of people follow people on social media because they want to be like them. But my dear friend over here, he tells me, this guy, he tells me, he's like, everyone wants somebody else's life because they don't want to really step into who they are. So they follow people because they want to be like them. The reality is that what we should, when I look at you and I follow you, or I'm watching your next move, what you're doing, I'm so happy for you. Like I'm so happy for what you have accomplished. It just gives me, it actually inspires me to want to be a better version of myself. I'm like, this guy, he's 21 years old. He's 20 years old, and he's telling me he's going to make $20 million. Are you crazy? I was like, whoa, why don't I have that belief? He's like, yeah, I want some of that. And that's amazing. And I so much want your success because of that. And so you motivate me, not just in a way of an external following you and not knowing who you are, but I know you through that process because you opened up to me a lot and we've opened up to each other. It's like, yeah, he's looking at the challenge, he's facing it, he's overcoming it. And I resonate to that energy so much. So, and then you come and you're like, hey, I'm building this founders club, and we're working together. I've mentored you through different seasons of your life, a little bit here and there, and try to be in a position to help if I can. And you're like, okay, you're going to come into the founders club and you're going to do your retreat. And I'm like, what? I'm going to do that? Are you serious? Like, I'm just doing it for these regular Jewish guys who almost, sometimes I feel like I can dominate these guys, because a lot of them are stuck in their lives and they're going through a hard time, and I'm in a position to help them lead. But hey, wait a second. I was in a position where I was stuck and I was in a down place, and I actually want to give that to other people and help them grow into their potential. But I was doing it in my comfort zone. All of a sudden you're like, hey, you're going to come to the Founders Club and you're going to do this for people that are already successful, that have already built something, that have already accomplished. And I'm like feeling this, like, what's going on over here? But Aaron's like, what are you doing over here? You got this. We step into it and we just crush it. Like we went into that container together and we crushed it. And it's like, as you say, it's one of the most active, raw, vulnerable chats on the
it's still going. Community. It's still going.
Unbelievable.
I'll say one thing. I remember that call. It was a very important call, and you were nervous. I forget, it was like a couple of weeks before or whatever. You were nervous, or you wanted to talk about it, and you were like getting out of your car. Actually, you were like, I just want to communicate. Oh yeah, going to the golf. And you said, I just want to communicate that no matter what I'm feeling, because you had all these thoughts, that I trust you. And that's all I need to know. And all I had to say was like, don't worry, we got it. And you're like, okay, good. I just want to let you know that like, I'm surrendering because I trust you. And a good mentor of mine, Armstrong, always tells me, you have to choose who you trust and then trust them fully. And it's so important who you trust, because you can't trust everyone. And like, I remember you saying that, and I was like, all right, we're good. Because I knew I had unwavering belief. You had unwavering belief, but we all have little limiting beliefs within all of that. But your trust in me created even more trust in myself. Because I was like, I know I got this, but if he doesn't trust me, then this isn't going to work. And all you said was like, you had all these questions. You're like, and then at one point you stopped because I think you had to go to your golf game, and you're like, you know what? I trust you. Let me know if you need anything. And I was like, great. I'll see you in Muskoka. Right. And that is the superpower, in my opinion, to unlocking all of the growth that we want. And that's why this life we live is a people game. It's all about people. And it's getting the best people around you, and then also being very selective with who you trust, and then trusting them fully. It's like employees, it's like staff, it's like the people that you pay. You have to be able to trust them fully. And I did a mini workshop. I'll actually share this. So we brought our entire executive team to Puerto Rico. We do it fun. We put all these names in a hat. Everyone puts a city. Whatever we pull out, we get. So we went to freaking Puerto Rico. Whatever. So we're in Puerto Rico. And we're all sitting there. We're about to talk business, right? It's about to be like Plan 2026, members first, blah, 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 value, this, that. And my co-founder, actually, Chris, who wasn't on the workshop, and he'll come, it'll be amazing. He's like, okay, before we begin, why don't you guys all go around and tell Aaron what you don't trust about him.
Oh, damn.
And I only later realized that they confide a lot in him, because I'm a little bit of a scary individual. I don't know why, but to some. So they confide a lot in him. I don't know, Aaron said this to me, that to me, And I got like just brutal feedback. And I loved it, to be honest, because it created an opening. And people were telling me, they feel like they can't come to me fully, that they don't feel safe in their jobs and in their role, that because I change things so often that, just because I said something a week ago doesn't mean it might be true the next week. And that they live with anxiety operating in the business because of that. And to me, I never would have guessed that. If you were to say, hey, what does your team not trust you about? I'd be like, oh, I don't know. Maybe they don't trust like how fast I move or whatever. But I never would have believed that. And then they flipped the script and we said, all right, Aaron, now you're going to go and you're going to say why you don't trust them. Because all they basically said was, no matter what we do, we feel like you don't trust us. It's basically what they were saying in all these different examples. And it was the most freeing exercise in the world to go one by one for an hour and tell people what my brain has told me not to trust in them. And we cried and we got vulnerable, but it developed an unwavering trust. Like I looked at one of our top guys and said, I think you're going to leave. I don't think you're going to stay. I think you're going to leave. And I freak out over it because I can't lose you. And he like looked me dead in the face and he's like, I thought you were going to fire me. I'm like, I would never fire you. And he's like, I would never leave. Like, this is what I want to do forever.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm so sorry. Because I've been operating under this lens of like, we need to protect ourselves from him leaving and he's going to leave and he's going to leave. And like, and since then, his department, next level. I had a different person who I know has like a small thing on the side. And I was like, I catch myself wishing your small thing went away. Because I know how much greater life would be if you were here. And I don't know what to tell you to be here. And he's like, you just got to tell me that like, if I am here, that like I'm 100% in, that like you ain't gonna kick me out, and like I can trust that I can be here. I'm like, dude, that's literally what I've been asking the world for. And you start to realize, like in this moment, it was they don't trust me, I don't trust them, and because I don't trust them, they don't trust me. And it's like we're the executive team. We're supposed to run this organization of almost 1,000 members, And we left with, forget the game plan. We left with a trust for each other, a trust like nothing else. And in the last 4 or 5 weeks since then, we've gotten more done than the previous 8 months of the year. Because we have unwavering trust. I'm able to call you and say, I'm about to give you bad news, but remember what I said, I wouldn't get rid of you. And you remember that trust? Great, now we can be in connection and speak truth. I don't need to sugarcoat it. I don't need to and we can move. And it all starts with trust. Who you trust is everything. And that means you open the door for potentially getting burned. Could happen. That guy could quit. It could.
You got to be willing to have those real conversations, the tough conversations, the vulnerable conversations. And ultimately, you got to be able to trust yourself to put it out there and know that everything's going to be okay. It's like every single morning, I wake up in the morning, and it's my son, he always says, I wake up in the morning, and they teach it in school, and I say, Moda'ani, I say, I'm grateful to God.
Wait, it's buzzing. There we go.
I'm grateful to God. It's my 2-year-old. We're programming from such a little age. I wake up in the morning and I say, thank you for life. Like, you have to be grateful for life. You have to wake up grateful for life. And at the end of that sentence, you say, Rabba emunasecha. Rabba emunasecha is great is your faith. Whose faith? God's faith. That he gave you another day and he trusts you. Now, can you connect with that? That you take another breath, that you take another day, that you're going to do this divine mission of being here? Can you connect with the creator, not just of all these big companies and whatever? We're talking about the master of the entire universe. Even before I get out of my bed, even before I go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, go to my culture cold plunge. Okay? We're talking about the first thing when your eyes open, God believes in me. And that's something I think we all need to be able to connect with, like you're saying, that trust in ourselves, trust in the process of life, trust in what we're here for, trust that what we're doing is the right thing, but also I got to be able to question that and say, am I connected to that? Am I doing that? Or am I living a life of scarcity? Am I living a life of knowing the abundance of where I come from? And, there's once this story that I remember because I was in university, and like, you get planted these like little pieces of wisdom, or like there's these messengers of truth that are like walking around the world. And there's this guy, he passed away. His name was Dr. Block. Like, this guy was the most world renowned person that had information and understanding of philosophy. Like, this guy was holding Aristotle, everything he knew. Wow. And he decided to give over his life to become a religious Jew because he met the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Wow. And, the Lubavitcher Rebbe would ask him, when are you writing your book on Aristotle and the connection to spirituality? Because philosophy doesn't match with spirituality. It's like they're opposites in a certain sense. Philosophy is like, thinking, questioning, and spirituality is like trusting and knowing. And there's a fusion between the two, and you're the one to bring the fusion. So he's like, I'm still working on it, because he knew that if he finishes that book, his life is over, because that's his mission. He thought, like, okay, that's why I'm here. So he's like delaying. Anyways, he goes to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and he brought a bunch of students with him. And one guy from the crowd says, who are you, Rabbi, that, like, what do you do? And so, of course, the Rebbe smiles at him, and he says, you see that light switch on the wall? That light switch on the wall, if you turn it on, the light comes on. And that is connected to a power source that's outside. It's electrical current that connects to a power source that's outside that, and ultimately goes where? To Niagara Falls, which power houses that little switch that needs to get turned on. And that's like a person. God invested Niagara Falls in you, and that's what fuels your existence. That's called the soul. And I'm here to help people find the light switch, to turn on their own light, to believe in themselves. And, he said that to me, and I was like, wow. And this guy literally gave over his life. The Rebbe said, you're going to London, Ontario? Okay. Who's going to London, Ontario? Because he was on a mission. He became the head of the philosophy department, and he would come every day, this legend of a man who was, because to be a legend, you also have to be humble, by the way. That is one of the remedies to being a legend, is you have to almost lower yourself, not talk about you, but where you come from and who you are, knowing that, like Armstrong said, there's thousands of who came before you to give you all this information that lives in your DNA. And to be able to say, hey, okay, I'm on this mission. And he became the head of the philosophy department, and now has like this bolstering community of Jewish kids who have a place to go that was built up. And that's where I became religious. That's where I connected to my Judaism, is because one guy, and who would have known that, like, this guy would be there just for me to get turned on, see my light, to be able to give that light over in the world. Yeah. Like, I think I went to Western University because I was supposed to get some degree in psychology and biology. By the way, still one credit short. Never finished. But it was all there to get my light turned on. Ugh. And we got to be that person in the world that is able to give the light to other people and turn them on. So that last question, which I want you to, it's like, okay, fine. So you believe obviously that people should go and work on themselves and become vulnerable and know themselves and be able to see themselves. So what's the light that you're giving out to the world from this message that we're going to conclude with? It's like, what light do you want the world to be able to see in themselves?
I'll say one thing before that, but it'll lead into the light. I think beyond the energy you want to put out, the light, which is so important, and trusting, and like all these amazing things that we spoke about today, that really, I think anyone that's listening to this is going to gain a ton of perspective. I think the one variable, though, that we can 100% control, and it's the one that also I learned in my youth, but it's just the only answer I have to any bad moment in my life or challenging moment or potentially catastrophic moment. Beyond belief, beyond optimism, beyond confidence, beyond trusting in the people around me, beyond being able to see the light at the end, like we spoke about, is simply showing up and getting to work. Oftentimes, we always forget about that. And I think the Instagram rah-rah gurus have ruined that part of the process because they've unvalidated what it means to actually work. They make it seem easier than it is. They lie, they scam, they're untruthful. They make it seem that it doesn't take 10 years, 12 years, 20 years to build anything meaningful. And they've polluted the art of actually showing up and getting your nails dirty and getting after it in all departments of your life. To me, they say in all of your business problems are solved with revenue. That's what they say. You don't have enough money for staff, just make more money. Your office is not nice enough, just make more money. Can't enter a new market, just make more money. P&L is not looking good, just make more money. Oftentimes when people look at their P&L, the last thing they think about is increasing revenue. They think about who to cut, who to get rid of, what they need to change, who to fire, who's responsible. Making more money is the same thing as just getting to work. You need to work through. Don't like the way you look? Go to the gym. Eat better. Don't like your relationships? Have the hard conversations. Say, hey, can we talk about something that's not feeling right for me? It's work. It's hard. It's hard. And oftentimes, we do everything other than work. We're humans. We're meant to work. That's all we've ever done. It's like it's the only job of humans. We're not meant to be behind a computer screen and only work our brains. We were made to, especially men, we're made to work with our hands, use our bodies to activate all areas of the human body, mind, body, soul. Everything needs to get worked every day. You know what happens when you stop working out for 2 weeks, right?
It's already been a week and a half.
That's it. I see you do 20 pull-ups now, you know? All that work, gone. The second we stop working, the second we stop showing up, the second we stop taking full accountability for anything that's troubling us in our life and then passing it off to something else, it then just will never be what you want it to become. You cannot think your way through things. You need to work your way through things. You need to work your body, work your relationships. You cannot think and look in the wall and say, I'm going to have an amazing relationship. I'm going to have an amazing relationship. My kids are going to love me. You know, we have the parents channel in the group. Someone said the other day, which I thought was really cheeky. They're like, kids spell love, T-I-M-E. That's how they spell love. That's it. You got to show up. You got to show up for the hockey games. You got to show up for your kids. You got to be able to pick them up from school. You got to show up for your wife. You got to show up for your employees. You got to show up for your business. Don't like how much money you're making? Work. Don't love your car you drive? Work. Don't love the way you look? Get to work. Don't have enough time in the day? Wake up earlier. Don't love your energy? Eat better food. It's so easy, but it's so hard. Because if we don't feel good and we don't have the light at the end of the tunnel, it's hard to just get to work. Let's call it a spade a spade. Everything I just listed is hard. The last thing I want to do is work my tail off every day in uncertainty, not know how much money I'm going to make, but believe it's going to be better. Invest into my relationship, hoping it's the one and knowing it's going to be hard and knowing there's going to be challenges, but showing up for it fully no matter what. Taking care of my parents, knowing that one day they won't be around. and spending time with them fully because I don't know when's the last time I'm going to be able to spend with them. Showing up for my brothers because there's 4 of them and they want to spend time with me. Like eating healthy so that I can have energy every single day. Going to sleep on time so that I can show up fully for my staff and for my employees. Fulfill the promises that I promised to my employees in terms of their future. Fulfill the promises in terms of the product that I'm selling so that I can show up fully for that. Be there for the people in my life that rely on me because I want to be that light for them. That's hard. It's so hard that there's not a day that goes by that I don't want to just say, leave me alone. Give me a day. Just not today. Not today. It happens every day. Every day. There's not a day that goes by that I don't want to work out. There's not a day that goes by that I don't want to call my dad and be on FaceTime for an hour. You know, so I was so busy last week. I didn't call my parents for 2 days and like I felt about it. I did. But there's not enough of me. But I work. I don't beat myself up about it. And I called them the next day and I stayed on for the hour and I just kept working. As humans, we have to work on every aspect of our life. We have to. You have no choice. You gotta be all in. Gotta be all in on life. Otherwise, none of this stuff matters. Philosophy or... Listen, I don't go to the synagogue that often, but I know enough. I know enough religious people to know that to have that level of connection or to go that deep, you got to show up every day. It's hard. You got to show up every day. You got to do the daven, you got to do the prayers. You got to do it. And it's hard. Even I'm guaranteed there's times where you're like, I can't go, it's snowing, or I guarantee my kid's sick. I don't get it. Nah, you still do it. You still do what you got to do. You still got to, no excuses. You do it because everything is important. And as humans, we can do it. That's like, if there's one thing that my mom has taught me is that like, fuck, she can do it all, dude. She can do it all. 30 people for this, that, help this, be there for my brother, show up, call me, ask me to help. Like I can do it too. I can do it. And if I can be that light, I just want to show people that it's possible. That it's possible. How many times you tell people I got double digits children? Double digits. And what their brain doesn't even like compute. It starts to like freeze. And you're like, yeah, and I got a business. And I show up for the people. And I'm on a podcast in the middle of the day. And I'm making time for people that are important to me. And I'm investing into my relationship. And I'm taking risks financially. They could potentially hurt my family. And I'm struggling sometimes because maybe my business isn't what it should be. And I'm making changes and I'm investing and I'm moving and I'm working. I'm working all in. I'm all in. And that, to me, is the one message that I want to be for other people. That is the light. Aaron is working. He's working. People are like, oh, I love to see what you're doing. You see 5% of what I do. Not even. I'm in it 100%. All in, max level of vulnerability. At times I get scared like everybody else. At times I shut down like everybody else. At times I don't want to do it. I don't want to show up. I don't want to deal with it. Don't want to deal with everything all the time. I don't. But I do. It sucks. But that's, to me, what it means to be a man in this world. Armstrong would tell me, he's like, if I talk back to my dad, just go back in the farm. He used to work on a tobacco farm. They owned a tobacco farm. Go. You have work to do. We don't got time to complain here. We got work to do. Sun's down in 40 minutes. Let's go. That's it.
Yeah.
Just get to work. And get to not just work, but it's work in all areas of our life. And that's, the Founders Club is the vehicle that we're spreading that light right now. But it's just a light. When we say you got to be full in all buckets, people don't even understand that. It's like, you got to, like, who doesn't want this? I mean, if you know someone, tell me. Who doesn't want this? An amazing relationship with their partner, with their kids. I don't know anyone that doesn't want that. Who doesn't want an amazing business that fulfills them? challenges them, forces them to grow, and makes them money. Everybody. Who doesn't want to wake up every morning loving the way they look, the way they feel, proud of the way they can move their body? I don't know anybody that doesn't want that. Who doesn't want to have an amazing relationship with their own parents, with their own siblings, with their own immediate family, their cousins? Even those who have the worst relationships, they really wish it was good. They do.
Yeah.
And who doesn't want a community that supports them and that they can be in connection with, best friends that can be there for them? Every single person. Very few people have all of them at 100%. But the only way to even get close to that 100% is to just work. I asked Armstrong, and I keep bringing him up because I just had him on the pod. I asked him straight up. I said, Arms, how do you do it? How do you do it, dude? How do you stay in connection with so many people? He's like, Aaron, no tricks. An hour and a half before I go to bed, I sit there on my phone and I scroll through all the people I've texted and I check in. How you doing? How you doing? I said 100 messages. And he's not good technology, okay? I'm going to call him old. He hates that. He's an older guy. Hey, how are you? Like this. How are you? How's it going? Haven't texted you in 3 months. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? That's a good friend. That's an hour and a half of his life gone. I asked him, why'd you come to this podcast? You flew in from DC. You were supposed to interview the hostages. Canceled it. Planes canceled. Got a private jet. Spent $60,000, $70,000 to come do an interview with me. I said, yo, Arms, you could have rescheduled, bro. Like, we'll do it next week. It's okay. He goes, no, man. I'm all in on friendship. I show up. And if that man who has reached the upper echelon of success and power will cancel meetings with the leader of the FBI to come sit with a friend, then how can I not show up for myself and for the people in my life? If you don't show up, it doesn't count. And that's, to me, the light that I want to be for others, is I want to show people that it's possible. I want to show people that all you have to do is work. All you have to do. If your business sucks ass, just sit down and open the computer. Just do it. See what happens. If your body sucks and you can't do a push-up, do a half push-up for 1 day, every day for a week. And then eventually you'll be able to do 1 push-up. Just work. Just work. And to me, I want to be around people that work. No one's perfect. Fuck that. Nobody's perfect. I don't know a single human who's perfect. But damn, let's band together with people who are willing to try. Let's band together. Like all in. Me and you. All in.
Let's go.
All in. And no matter what happens, we know that we'll feel good when we're 119 years old and 364 days and we're about to die. We'll be able to look at each other and be like, we gave it everything we got, bro.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I want to be.
And so, I mean, that's powerful. I think I know what your word is for the year next year.
Powerful?
Powerful word. Who knows? There's so many that you could pull. But when in Kentucky, Aaron, what's your next step?
When in Kentucky?
Well, you said the guy in Kentucky does the trauma stuff.
Oh. What's my next step?
What's your next step? Where do you need to insert yourself into work?
Oh, it's an easy one.
Let's go.
Listen, for me, I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to build my own family. The one area of my life that is just right there. It's right there. And I used to beat myself up about it. But I give myself a lot of credit because I've done a lot of work. I went through relationships, tough ones. I've learned lessons. I've stepped into fear. I've challenged myself. I'm right there. I'm right there. I'm ready to rock and roll. And that's the next step. That's the progress. That's the point I don't want to get stuck at. That's the point I don't want to freeze, because I'm going to push forward. And because I also know a part of my mission to be that light is to have that bucket as well.
Let's go.
It's a big bucket.
That's why we're here together.
That's a big bucket. It's a bucket that I admire you for. It's a bucket that I see you show up fully for. You know, I've been so blessed in my life to be surrounded by people that go all in on their relationships. You know, my brothers, you know, is it easy? No. Is it challenging? No. But they show up fully for their kids. They show up fully for their family. My parents, my dad sacrificed his whole life. My life, all in, you know? Today, like I needed a car. My dad's like, no problem. I'll drop me off. I got you. His day is complicated now because of me. Doesn't matter. There was not a moment in my head where my dad would say no to me taking his car today.
It's so funny. The way I got here is my wife's car's in the shop. I have to get the car back soon to her.
Exactly. Yeah, I got to give him the car back too.
Yeah.
But in my head, it's just all in on that. And that's the one bucket of my life that I'm excited to just, boom, let's fill up.
Well, thank you for this conversation. Appreciate
Thank you.
your time. And for all those that are listening, don't subscribe to this, but inscribe it in your hearts. And hopefully you could take the messages that we've shared today and
yes,
be a little bit more of who you are. Thank you for listening.
Let's go.